In the vibrant and experimental 1970s, sandwiches weren't just meals. They were creative masterpieces, as bold flavors and new combinations took center stage. But over the years, many of these once iconic sandwiches have faded into history, forgotten by most. Today, I'm bringing them back, honoring those inventive dishes that were once the heart of our lunch breaks, and rediscovering the sandwiches that made the 70s unforgettable. 1. The clamshell sandwich. The clamshell sandwich was a coastal delight that graced the menus of seafood diners and beachside shacks during the 1970s. Picture yourself sitting at a weathered table by the ocean, unwrapping a sandwich as fresh as the sea breeze. Crisp on the outside, creamy on the inside, and packed with the briny goodness of fresh clams. This sandwich perfectly captured the spirit of summer and innovation. In the 1970s, seafood was no longer reserved for fancy restaurants, and this handheld version made the flavors of the coast accessible to everyone. With a surge in seafood popularity, dishes like the clamshell sandwich brought coastal cuisine to everyday diners. The combination of tender clams, creamy mayo, and crunchy celery created a balanced, refreshing flavor profile that transported you straight to the beach. To make this sandwich, you'll need fresh clams. Little necks or steamers work best. Mayonnaise, lemon juice, celery, and soft sandwich rolls. Start by cleaning and steaming the clams until they open. Discard any that don't open, then remove the meat from the shells and chop it into bite-sized pieces. Next, mix together the mayonnaise, finely chopped celery, a squeeze of lemon juice, and a pinch of salt and pepper. Once combined, gently fold in the clam meat. Taste and adjust the seasoning, adding more lemon if desired for extra brightness. Spread the clam mixture onto your sandwich rolls. You can toast the rolls lightly for added crunch or leave them soft for that classic clam roll feel. Close the sandwich, slice it in half, and enjoy the salty, tender clams paired with creamy dressing and a burst of freshness from the celery and lemon. The clamshell sandwich is a nostalgic seaside classic that's easy to recreate. It's a reminder of a time when seafood was king and every sandwich was an adventure. Bring this 1970s favorite back to life for a taste of coastal comfort. 2. The Tavolo sandwich. The Tavolo sandwich was a 1970s diner classic that reimagined the sloppy joe with a bolder, spicier twist. Imagine a sandwich so hearty and flavorful, it made you stop and think, what is that? A mix of ground meat, tangy tomato sauce, and a bit of heat. The Tavolo was more than just a sandwich. It was an indulgent masterpiece piled high with juicy filling that soaked into the bread. Unlike the classic sloppy joe, which is all about savory beef in a mild tomato sauce, the Tavolo took it up a notch with a richer, spicier sauce and a chunkier meat filling that delivered more texture and flavor. It was the kind of sandwich that wasn't afraid to get messy, a true icon of 1970s diner food that embraced bold flavors and big portions. To recreate this forgotten gem, you'll need ground beef or turkey, onions, bell peppers, tomato paste, Worcestershire sauce, and a splash of hot sauce for that kick. For the bread, choose soft sandwich rolls that can hold all the juicy filling without falling apart. Start by browning your ground meat in a skillet over medium heat. Once cooked, remove any excess fat and set the meat aside. In the same skillet, sauté chopped onions and bell peppers until softened and fragrant. Return the meat to the pan and stir in the tomato paste, Worcestershire sauce, and hot sauce. Simmer everything on low for about 10 minutes, allowing the sauce to thicken and the flavors to meld together. Taste and adjust the heat with more hot sauce if desired. While the filling simmers, lightly toast your sandwich rolls or butter and broil them for a golden crisp. Once the filling is ready, pile it generously onto the rolls. Don't be shy. Close up the sandwich, slice it in half, and dig in. The hearty, spicy, satisfying bite is everything you want in a classic diner sandwich. The Tavolo sandwich may have faded into history, but it's a true 1970s icon that's ready for a comeback. Bring this bold, messy creation back to life in your kitchen and enjoy a taste of nostalgia. 3. The Seafood Club. Picture yourself sitting by the water, the sound of gentle waves in the background, a cool breeze drifting by, and in front of you, the Seafood Club sandwich. A more elegant twist on the classic club, this beauty features tender shrimp, crispy bacon, creamy avocado, and layers of fresh vegetables, all stacked high between soft, toasted bread. It's a sandwich that says, I'm on vacation, even if you're just having lunch in your own kitchen. The Seafood Club emerged in the 1970s, when seafood was becoming a more mainstream part of the American diet. The rising popularity of shrimp, lobster, and fresh fish meant that diners and home cooks alike could experiment with new and exciting ways to incorporate seafood into their meals. The club sandwich, traditionally loaded with turkey, ham, and bacon, was a natural base for such experimentation. The Seafood Club was born out of that same love for fresh coastal flavors, something that could be both indulgent and light at the same time. To make this delicious creation, you'll need a fresh batch of shrimp, cooked and peeled. Avocado slices will add a creamy richness, while crisp bacon will offer that irresistible crunch. You'll also need lettuce, ripe tomatoes, and soft sandwich bread, preferably toasted to perfection. To bring everything together, a light layer of mayonnaise or a tangy lemon aioli can be used to bind the flavors. Start by cooking your shrimp. If you're using frozen shrimp, make sure to thaw and peel them beforehand. Sauté the shrimp in a little butter and garlic for about 3 to 4 minutes, just until they're pink and cooked through. Set aside to cool. While the shrimp are cooling, crisp up your bacon in a pan or bake it in the oven. Either way, it should be nice and crunchy. Toast your sandwich bread until it's golden brown and slightly crispy. Now, it's time to assemble. Start by spreading a thin layer of mayonnaise or lemon aioli on the first slice of toast. Layer on some lettuce, followed by a few slices of tomato, and then the star of the show, your shrimp. Add a few crispy bacon strips and top with creamy avocado slices. For the second slice of toast, repeat the layering with more lettuce, tomato, and shrimp. Finally, add the top slice of bread, press down gently, and slice the sandwich into halves or quarters. Serve with a pickle on the side, and maybe some fries or a simple salad for the full diner experience. Every bite is a perfect blend of textures, crunchy, creamy, savory, and fresh, all packed into one glorious sandwich. The Seafood Club is an unforgettable 70s classic that's begging to be revived. Perfect for a leisurely lunch, it's a sandwich that brings the coast to your kitchen, no matter where you live. 4. The Chicken and Waffle Sandwich. The chicken and waffle sandwich was a 1970s fusion of two beloved comfort foods, crispy fried chicken and fluffy waffles. Combining sweet and savory in a way few other sandwiches dared to do, it quickly became a favorite in diners and family kitchens alike. Imagine the warmth of a fluffy waffle cradling a crispy, juicy piece of fried chicken, all smothered in syrup. Wild, but oh, so delicious. This sandwich was a perfect reflection of the 1970s culinary spirit, experimental, bold, and fun. Whether served as a hearty breakfast or a late-night snack, it celebrated texture and flavor like never before. The chicken and waffle sandwich is the ultimate sweet and savory experience, making it a true 70s icon that deserves a revival. To make this dish, you'll need crispy fried chicken, homemade or takeout, waffles from scratch or frozen, maple syrup, butter, and a pinch of salt to balance the sweetness. For an extra crunch, fresh greens like arugula or lettuce add a peppery contrast. Start by preparing your fried chicken. If homemade, season it with salt, pepper, and spices. Dip in flour and buttermilk and fry until golden. If using pre-cooked chicken, simply reheat it until crispy. Then, cook your waffles. Golden brown on the outside, but soft on the inside. If desired, butter the waffles lightly while hot. To assemble, place one waffle on a plate and top it with the fried chicken. Drizzle with maple syrup, then add the second waffle on top. For extra richness, you can spread butter between the waffles. Add a handful of fresh greens to balance the sweetness, then slice the sandwich in half. Every bite of the chicken and waffle sandwich delivers the perfect combination of savory chicken, sweet syrup, and crispy waffles. It's comforting, indulgent, and unexpected. A fun, playful dish from the 1970s that's ready to make a comeback. Why not bring this quirky classic back to your kitchen? The chicken and waffle sandwich is a memorable throwback to a time when sandwiches were meant to be as inventive as they were delicious. 5. The Monte Cristo Sandwich. Sometimes a sandwich is more than just lunch. Sometimes it's an experience. And if there was ever a sandwich that embodied that, it was the Monte Cristo. Picture this: a golden, crispy exterior that gives way to layers of melted cheese, savory ham, and tender turkey. Then, as a final flourish, a sprinkle of powdered sugar. This is no ordinary sandwich. It's a decadent, indulgent creation that tastes like a cross between French toast and a grilled cheese with a savory twist. The Monte Cristo sandwich became a star of 1970s diner menus, particularly in places that prided themselves on their ability to push culinary boundaries. Originally inspired by the French croque monsieur, the Monte Cristo took that concept and made it uniquely American by adding turkey and ham and frying it in a rich egg batter until golden and crispy. It was the sandwich that made you feel like you were treating yourself, even if you were just on a lunch break. To make this mouth-watering sandwich, you'll need slices of soft white bread, or brioche for an extra indulgent touch, sliced turkey, ham, and a generous amount of Swiss cheese. The batter is simple, made from eggs, milk, and a pinch of salt. A light dusting of powdered sugar adds a sweet contrast to the savory ingredients, and a side of jam, usually raspberry or strawberry, is the perfect accompaniment to cut through the richness. Start by assembling your sandwich. Layer slices of turkey, ham, and Swiss cheese between 2 pieces of bread. Beat the eggs with milk and a pinch of salt to make the batter. Heat a skillet over medium heat and add a little butter. Dip your assembled sandwich into the egg batter, making sure to coat both sides evenly. Once the skillet is hot, place the sandwich in the pan and cook for about 3 to 4 minutes per side, or until it's golden brown and the cheese has melted inside. When the sandwich is done, remove it from the pan and dust it lightly with powdered sugar. Serve with a small bowl of raspberry jam for dipping. The result? A crispy, melty, and surprisingly sweet sandwich. That's the perfect combination of savory and sweet. Every bite is a little moment of indulgence, and just like that, you're transported back to a time when diners were places of comfort, warmth, and big flavors. The Monte Cristo is one of those timeless classics that deserves a place in every home cook's repertoire. It's a sandwich that's guaranteed to make any meal feel special, and its 1970s roots give it a nostalgic edge. So, grab your skillet and get ready to fry up a bite of history. 6. The pineapple ham sandwich. The pineapple ham sandwich perfectly captures the 1970s fascination with blending sweet and savory flavors. Imagine sinking your teeth into a soft, sweet pineapple ring, paired with the saltiness of tender ham, all topped with gooey, melted Swiss cheese. This sandwich was once a 1970s dinner table star, offering an exotic twist on traditional fare, combining the freshness of pineapple with the richness of ham in a way that was both comforting and surprising. The 1970s were a time of culinary experimentation, with home cooks and chefs alike exploring new ways to combine fruits, like pineapple, with savory dishes. Pineapple, which had traditionally been reserved for desserts or salads, found its place in savory dishes like ham steaks and even on pizza. The pineapple ham sandwich became a simple, tropical-inspired lunch or dinner option, offering a taste of the islands right in your own kitchen. To make this sandwich, you'll need quality ham, sliced to your preference, pineapple rings, fresh or canned, Swiss cheese, or cheddar provolone for a sharper flavor, soft sandwich rolls, and a bit of butter for toasting. Start by heating a skillet over medium heat. If you're using canned pineapple, drain it thoroughly before placing the rings in the skillet to caramelize for 2 to 3 minutes on each side until golden and slightly charred. In the same skillet, add your ham slices and heat for about 2 minutes per side, letting them get a little crispy around the edges for added flavor. Next, lightly toast your sandwich rolls in the skillet, crisping both sides to a golden brown. Once the rolls are toasted, place a slice of Swiss cheese on the bottom half of each roll and top with a warm slice of ham. Add a caramelized pineapple ring on top of the ham and close the sandwich with the top roll. For extra flavor, return the sandwich to the skillet for 1-2 minutes, pressing down gently to melt the cheese and further crisp the bread. Serve immediately for a warm, sweet, savory bite that perfectly balances the unexpected combination of flavors. The pineapple ham sandwich is a comforting reminder of a time when simple, bold ingredients came together in delightful ways. It's a forgotten classic worth rediscovering, transporting you back to the simpler days of family meals and creative cuisine. 7. The hot brown. If there's one sandwich that could embody the grandeur of 1970s diner food, it would have to be the hot brown. This open-faced sandwich was both decadent and comforting, and it was as much about indulgence as it was about simple, hearty flavors. Originating from the Brown Hotel in Louisville, Kentucky in the 1920s, the hot brown was beloved in the 1970s for its rich, cheesy goodness and became a perfect example of post-World War II American diner culture. It combined turkey, bacon, and a velvety Mornay sauce, transforming a typical turkey sandwich into something fit for royalty. The beauty of the hot brown lies in its layers: tender turkey, crispy bacon, and a sauce that takes the humble dish to a whole new level. In the 1970s, diners loved its indulgent nature, perfect for brunch or a special lunch, and the ability to serve it as a warm, hearty dish in a single plate. To make this sandwich, you'll need slices of roasted turkey, preferably fresh from a roast, not deli slices, crispy bacon, and fresh bread, white or wheat works, though sourdough adds an extra flavor dimension. The star of this dish, however, is the Mornay sauce, a rich, creamy bechamel sauce made with cheese, often Gruyere or Parmesan. You'll also need a few sprigs of parsley for garnish. Start by preparing the Mornay sauce. In a small saucepan, melt butter over medium heat and whisk in flour to make a roux. Gradually add warm milk, whisking constantly until the sauce thickens to a creamy consistency. Once thickened, stir in the grated cheese, Gruyere or Parmesan, salt and pepper, and set aside. Meanwhile, Toast your slices of bread in the oven or on a skillet until golden brown. Place a slice of toasted bread on a baking sheet and top with slices of roasted turkey. Pour a generous amount of Mornay sauce over the turkey and bread, ensuring that the sauce covers everything. Next, sprinkle crispy bacon pieces over the sauce and place the open-faced sandwich under a broiler set to high. Broil for 3 to 5 minutes until the cheese sauce is bubbly and lightly browned. Be sure to keep an eye on it to avoid burning. Once it's done, garnish with freshly chopped parsley and serve immediately. The richness of the Mornay sauce, combined with the savory turkey and bacon, creates a sandwich that's indulgent without being overwhelming. Every bite is a comforting reminder of the decadence of the 1970s diner experience. The hot brown is not just a sandwich, it's an experience. Rich, creamy, and hearty, this open-faced delight deserves to be revived, as it perfectly captures the essence of a bygone era when food was about indulgence and celebration. 8. The lobster roll sandwich. In the 1970s, the lobster roll sandwich became a symbol of elegance and coastal cuisine, beloved by seafood enthusiasts and those looking to treat themselves to something a little more luxurious. The lobster roll was all about simplicity: sweet lobster meat, fresh ingredients, and a roll that brought it all together without overwhelming the delicate flavors. Although lobster rolls had existed for decades, the 1970s saw a surge in popularity as more people began to embrace seafood, and this sandwich emerged as the epitome of summertime dining. It's a perfect blend of fresh, briny lobster and creamy mayo, all tucked inside a buttery, soft roll. Easy to make, and yet so delicious. While lobster rolls were often reserved for seaside vacation spots by the 1970s, they could be found in more inland diners, bringing a taste of the coast to just about anyone craving a little bit of luxury. For this sandwich, you'll need fresh lobster meat, either cooked lobster tails or leftover lobster from a seafood feast. Mayonnaise is the key for the creamy binding, and a little squeeze of lemon juice brightens up the flavor. To add some crunch and freshness, you'll need finely chopped celery and maybe a little parsley. The bread is crucial. A soft, buttery roll, such as a New England-style split-top roll, will give this sandwich the perfect texture. Start by preparing the lobster. If you're using raw lobster tails, boil them in a pot of salted water for 5 to 7 minutes, or until the meat is opaque and tender. Once cooled, remove the lobster from the shell and chop it into bite-sized pieces. If you're using pre-cooked lobster meat, simply chop it into pieces and set aside. In a mixing bowl, combine the lobster, mayonnaise, finely chopped celery, and a squeeze of lemon juice. Stir everything together gently, making sure the lobster is well coated with the creamy dressing. Taste and add salt, pepper, or more lemon juice as needed. Now, toast your rolls lightly in a skillet or under the broiler to add a touch of crispness. Once the rolls are toasted, spoon the lobster mixture generously into the center of each roll. Garnish with a sprinkle of chopped parsley for added freshness and color. Serve your lobster roll with a side of chips or a light salad, and you've got yourself a sandwich that tastes like a summer vacation. The sweet lobster paired with the creamy dressing and the soft roll is a perfect combination of flavors that transports you to the coast with every bite. The lobster roll is a 1970s classic that was once a rare indulgence, but now can be made at home for a special treat. It's a timeless sandwich, simple yet luxurious, and ready for a comeback. 9. The chopped liver delight. There's something undeniably comforting about the rich, earthy flavor of chopped liver, and in the 1970s, this humble dish became the star of a sandwich that embodied the bold flavors of Jewish delis and family gatherings. The chopped liver delight might not be a sandwich you hear about often today, but back in its heyday, it was a beloved creation, a way to enjoy the hearty spread of chopped liver in an easy-to-eat, portable form. Chopped liver sandwiches have roots in Eastern European Jewish cooking, where liver was often used in various forms, and the 1970s brought the dish into a mainstream spotlight. Whether served on rye bread or challah, this sandwich had a combination of flavors that were perfect for those who love savory, earthy spreads paired with crunchy textures. To recreate this nostalgic sandwich, you'll need chicken or beef liver, sautéed onions, hard-boiled eggs, and a good dose of seasoning. The bread is important too. Rye or challah bread is ideal for this type of sandwich, as its slightly sweet and dense texture complements the richness of the chopped liver. Mayonnaise is often used to help bind everything together and add a bit of creaminess. Start by cooking the liver. Sauté it in a bit of butter or oil with onions until the liver is cooked through and tender, about 5 to 7 minutes. Remove from heat and let it cool. Once cooled, chop the liver finely, or process it in a food processor if you prefer a smoother texture. In a mixing bowl, combine the chopped liver, finely chopped hard-boiled eggs, and a generous spoonful of mayonnaise. Add salt, pepper, and any other seasonings you like. garlic powder, or a touch of mustard can add some extra depth of flavor. Mix everything until well combined, tasting and adjusting the seasoning as needed. Toast your rye or challah bread lightly. Spread the chopped liver mixture generously onto one slice of bread, then top with the other slice. For extra flavor, you can add some pickles or a little mustard inside the sandwich. Each bite of the chopped liver delight is a savory, satisfying experience, with the richness of the liver perfectly balanced by the lightness of the mayonnaise and the crunch of the bread. It's a sandwich that reflects the heart of 1970s comfort food, simple, hearty, and packed with flavor. This sandwich may have slipped off the radar in recent years, but it's still a beloved favorite for those who know its rich, savory goodness. The chopped liver delight is a nostalgic taste of tradition that deserves to be rediscovered. 10. The Swedish meatball sandwich. The Swedish meatball sandwich is the kind of sandwich you might not expect to see in a diner, but once you try it, you'll understand why it was a hit in the 1970s. This unique creation blends the flavors of the beloved Swedish meatballs, often served with a lingonberry jam and creamy gravy, into a handheld, sandwich-ready treat. In the 1970s, Swedish-American cuisine was growing in popularity, with Swedish meatballs being a particular favorite for dinner tables across the country. The Swedish meatball sandwich took those comforting flavors and made them portable, perfect for a lunchtime treat or a savory snack. This sandwich is all about comfort: tender, juicy meatballs in a rich, savory sauce, paired with a soft roll that soaks up all the deliciousness. The meatballs are seasoned with a mix of traditional Swedish spices, and the gravy is smooth and creamy, bringing everything together in a warm, hearty bite. To make this sandwich, you'll need ground beef, or a mix of beef and pork for the meatballs. Breadcrumbs, eggs, and a splash of milk help bind the mixture together. You'll also need spices like allspice and nutmeg to give the meatballs that signature Swedish flavor. For the gravy, you'll need butter, flour, beef broth, and a touch of heavy cream for richness. Soft rolls like hoagie rolls or sandwich buns will work perfectly for this sandwich. Start by making the meatballs. In a bowl, combine the ground beef or beef and pork mixture, breadcrumbs, eggs, milk, salt, pepper, and a pinch of allspice and nutmeg. Roll the mixture into small meatballs, about 1 inch in diameter, and fry them in a skillet until they're golden brown and cooked through. For the gravy, melt butter in a pan and whisk in flour to create a roux. Slowly add beef broth, whisking constantly until the sauce thickens. Stir in the heavy cream for extra richness, and season with salt and pepper. To assemble, cut your rolls and toast them lightly if desired. Place a generous amount of Swedish meatballs on the bottom half of the roll, then pour the creamy gravy over the meatballs. Top with the other half of the roll and serve with a side of lingonberry jam if you want to go all the way. The Swedish meatball sandwich is a hearty, comforting dish that takes the best of Swedish cuisine and puts it between two pieces of bread. It's perfect for those who crave a bit of nostalgia, a rich, savory meal, and a taste of the 1970s, all in one delicious bite. 11. The pizza sub. There was a time in the 1970s when pizza was taking the country by storm, and what better way to combine America's love for pizza with the beloved sub sandwich than to create the pizza sub? If you grew up in that era, you probably remember seeing this sandwich on nearly every diner menu. It was an exciting way to enjoy the flavors of pizza in a handheld form, with layers of tangy tomato sauce, melted cheese, and savory meats, all nestled inside a soft sub roll. The pizza sub combined the best of both worlds: the classic ingredients of a pizza, tomato sauce, mozzarella, and pepperoni, packed into a sandwich. It became a quick, easy, and satisfying meal for pizza lovers who wanted something a little different from the usual slice. In a way, the pizza sub captured the innovation and creativity of the 1970s, when chefs and home cooks were more than willing to experiment with familiar dishes in new forms. To create this sandwich, you'll need a hearty sub roll, which will hold all of the toppings without falling apart. Mozzarella cheese is key, along with marinara sauce for that classic pizza flavor. You'll also want pepperoni, but you can easily switch it up with other pizza toppings like sausage, mushrooms, or olives if you prefer. A little Parmesan cheese, Italian seasoning, and some fresh basil will elevate the sandwich to make it more pizza-like. Start by preheating your oven to 350 degrees or 175 degrees. Slice your sub rolls lengthwise, making sure to leave a little of the bottom intact so the filling stays inside. Toast the rolls lightly in the oven for about 5 minutes, just enough to make them warm and a little crispy. Next, spread a layer of marinara sauce inside each roll, followed by a generous sprinkle of mozzarella cheese. Layer the pepperoni or other toppings you've chosen, making sure to evenly distribute everything inside the rolls. Top with a bit more cheese and a sprinkle of Italian seasoning. Place the stuffed rolls in the oven and bake for about 10 minutes, or until the cheese is melted and bubbly and the edges of the bread are golden. For a finishing touch, sprinkle some Parmesan cheese on top and place the sub under the broiler for 1 to 2 minutes to get a little extra crisp on top. Once they're out of the oven, add a few fresh basil leaves for a pop of color and freshness. Slice them up, serve with a side of extra marinara sauce for dipping, and you've got yourself a pizza sub that's every bit as satisfying as the classic pie itself. The pizza sub is a nostalgic 1970s favorite that brings all the pizza flavors you love into a perfectly portable sandwich. It's the perfect way to enjoy pizza on the go, and it still holds up as a fun, delicious option for today's lunchtime cravings. 12. The Tuna Melt Supreme. The Tuna Melt Supreme takes the classic tuna melt to the next level. In the 1970s, the tuna melt was already a diner staple, but this version cranks up the flavor and creativity to match the experimental food trends of the decade. It's the kind of sandwich that makes you feel like you're treating yourself, with its savory tuna filling, gooey cheese, and perfectly toasted bread. The addition of fresh ingredients and a unique twist on the classic tuna salad filling made the Tuna Melt Supreme a true standout. What sets this sandwich apart from the everyday tuna melt is its use of special ingredients, such as fresh dill, crunchy pickles, and a tangy Dijon mustard dressing. The combination of these flavors with the creamy tuna mixture creates a delightful sandwich that's as satisfying as it is comforting. Plus, the 1970s love for all things supreme means it's more than just your average melt. It's a bit of a showstopper. You'll need canned tuna, preferably packed in water, mayonnaise, Dijon mustard, dill pickle relish, finely chopped celery, and fresh dill for an extra burst of flavor. For the cheese, Swiss or cheddar works well, but feel free to get creative with your choice. And for the bread, choose hearty, slightly thick slices of white or sourdough, something that will hold up to the rich tuna filling and melted cheese. Start by draining the canned tuna and flaking it into a large bowl. Add mayonnaise, Dijon mustard, pickle relish, and finely chopped celery. Mix everything together until the tuna is evenly coated in the creamy dressing. If you like, you can toss in some freshly chopped dill or a squeeze of lemon juice to brighten the flavors. Once your tuna mixture is ready, spread a generous amount of the tuna salad on one slice of bread. Top it with a slice of Swiss or cheddar cheese, then place the second slice of bread on top. Heat a skillet over medium heat and butter the outside of the sandwich to ensure a crispy golden crust. Grill the sandwich for about 3 to 4 minutes on each side, or until the bread is golden brown and the cheese is melted. Keep an eye on it to avoid burning, and feel free to press down gently with a spatula to help the cheese melt evenly. Once the sandwich is cooked, slice it in half and serve with a side of pickles or potato chips. The creamy tuna filling, tangy mustard, and melty cheese combine to create a sandwich that's a little more sophisticated than the classic tuna melt, but just as comforting and satisfying. The Tuna Melt Supreme is a sandwich that takes the classic comfort food to a whole new level, perfect for those who love a hearty meal that's a little bit fancy and full of flavor. 13. The Philly Cheesesteak. Few sandwiches are as iconic as the Philly cheesesteak. Born in the heart of Philadelphia, this sandwich rose to national fame in the 1970s as a savory, juicy meal that quickly became a favorite for people all across the U.S. What makes the Philly cheesesteak so unforgettable is the combination of tender, thinly sliced steak, melty cheese, and a perfectly soft roll. It's a straightforward sandwich, but one that has an undeniable ability to satisfy. In the 1970s, the Philly cheesesteak's rise in popularity wasn't just due to its deliciousness. It was also due to the fast-growing appeal of regional American specialties. People were beginning to appreciate the diverse culinary traditions that made up the American food landscape, and the Philly cheesesteak was one of the standouts. Whether served on the streets of Philly or in diners across the country, this sandwich was a fast, filling, and delicious meal for any time of day. For a proper Philly cheesesteak, you'll need thinly sliced ribeye steak, which is tender and flavorful. The cheese is critical, and in Philadelphia, it's typically either provolone or American cheese. You'll also need a soft, hoagie-style roll to hold all of the fillings and provide the perfect bite. To complete the sandwich, add sautéed onions, peppers, or mushrooms if you like a little extra flavor. Start by heating a skillet over medium-high heat and adding a little oil. Once the pan is hot, toss in your thinly sliced ribeye steak and cook for 3 to 4 minutes, stirring occasionally to ensure the meat cooks evenly. The key is to not overcook the steak. You want it tender and juicy. While the steak is cooking, sauté onions and optional bell peppers or mushrooms in another skillet until they soften and caramelize. This will add sweetness and depth to the sandwich. Once the steak is cooked, Add a slice of provolone or American cheese over the meat and let it melt for a minute or two. Meanwhile, split your hoagie rolls and toast them lightly in the oven or on a griddle. To assemble the sandwich, spoon the cheesy steak mixture onto the bottom half of the hoagie roll. Top with the sautéed onions and any other veggies you prefer. Place the top of the roll on, press down gently, and slice it in half. Every bite of the Philly cheesesteak is a perfect balance of savory, cheesy, and tender. This classic sandwich is a symbol of Philadelphia pride, and once you've tasted it, you'll understand why it became such a huge sensation during the 1970s. 14. The French dip. The French dip sandwich is one of those timeless sandwiches that has remained a favorite for decades, and for good reason. The combination of tender, thinly sliced roast beef, a soft hoagie roll, and that savory dipping broth, the au jus, is a flavor combination that just works. This sandwich, which originated in the early 1900s, but truly found its place in the 1970s American diner scene, became a go-to comfort food for anyone craving a hearty, satisfying meal. What makes the French dip stand out is the addition of the au jus, beef drippings that have been turned into a rich, flavorful broth that you can dip your sandwich into. This extra layer of flavor adds a depth that makes each bite of the sandwich even more enjoyable. While its roots go back further, the French dip exploded in popularity during the 1970s as people began to embrace more casual, yet decadent dining experiences. To create this sandwich, you'll need thinly sliced roast beef, ideally from a roast that has been cooked to medium rare. For the bread, a soft hoagie roll works best, as it can absorb the juices without falling apart. For the au jus, you'll need beef broth, onions, garlic, and some seasoning. To complete the sandwich, you'll want a few slices of provolone cheese or Swiss cheese. Start by preparing the au jus. In a saucepan, combine beef broth, sautéed onions, garlic, and any seasonings you like. A dash of Worcestershire sauce or thyme works wonderfully. Simmer the broth for about 10 minutes to allow the flavors to meld together. While the au jus is simmering, heat your sliced roast beef in a skillet for a few minutes, just to warm it through. You can also add a little of the au jus to the beef for extra flavor. Split your hoagie rolls and toast them lightly in the oven. Place a slice of provolone or Swiss cheese on the bottom half of the roll, then pile the warm roast beef on top. Close the sandwich and serve with a small bowl of the au jus for dipping. The French dip is all about the experience. The warm, savory dip paired with the tender beef and cheese creates a satisfying meal that's both comforting and indulgent. 15. The meatball sub. A classic favorite in every 1970s diner, the meatball sub was a hearty, flavorful sandwich that combined tender meatballs, rich marinara sauce, and melted cheese, all packed into a soft sub roll. This was the sandwich that could feed a crowd, and its simple ingredients made it a go-to comfort food for families and diners alike. The meatball sub was hearty, filling, and absolutely delicious, a true 1970s staple. While meatball subs are still a favorite today, the 1970s version was often served with a generous portion of sauce and gooey cheese, making each bite a rich, savory delight. What makes the meatball sub unforgettable is its combination of textures, the soft meatballs, the chewy bread, and the melty cheese coming together to create a sandwich that's just impossible to resist. You'll need homemade or store-bought meatballs, beef or a mix of beef and pork, marinara sauce, and Italian bread rolls. Provolone or mozzarella cheese is traditional, though you can use any melty cheese you like. Parmesan cheese can be added for a little extra bite, and a sprinkle of Italian seasoning rounds out the flavors. Start by heating the marinara sauce in a pot. If you're using homemade meatballs, cook them in the sauce for about 10 to 15 minutes to allow the flavors to meld. If you're using pre-made meatballs, simply heat them in the sauce until they're hot throughout. While the meatballs are simmering, slice your rolls and toast them lightly in the oven. Once toasted, scoop a generous amount of sauce and meatballs into each roll. Top with a layer of melted mozzarella or provolone cheese, and place the sandwich under the broiler for a minute or two to melt the cheese. The result is a perfect, comforting sandwich that's every bit as satisfying as it is nostalgic. The meatball sub is a timeless classic that was born in the 1970s and still has a place on dinner tables and diner menus today. 16. The egg salad delight. The egg salad delight proves that sometimes simplicity is the key to satisfaction. In the 1970s, egg salad was a lunchbox staple. Its creamy texture and mild flavor made it a favorite among both kids and adults. However, the egg salad delight took the classic up a notch, offering more flavor and flair. It became a nostalgic favorite that added a bit more zest to the traditional egg salad, with its creamy filling tucked between soft, fresh bread. While egg salad was already known for its ease of preparation and rich, velvety mayonnaise base, the 1970s saw people experimenting with ingredients like crunchy celery, pickles, and fresh herbs to add texture and brightness. This new twist on the classic gave birth to the Egg Salad Delight, a versatile sandwich perfect for any occasion, from a quick lunch to a picnic. It was the kind of dish anyone could throw together with ingredients on hand, yet still deliver big flavor. To make the Egg Salad Delight, you'll need hard-boiled eggs, mayonnaise, mustard, and a splash of white vinegar to balance the flavor. Fresh celery adds a crisp crunch, while dill pickle relish or chopped pickles provides tangy zing. A sprinkle of salt, pepper, and fresh herbs like parsley or chives round out the flavors. For the bread, soft white or whole wheat sandwich bread works best, but you can opt for multigrain if you prefer something heartier. Start by hard-boiling the eggs. Place them in cold water, bring it to a boil, then simmer for 10 to 12 minutes. Once they're done, cool them, peel, and chop them into small pieces. In a bowl, combine the chopped eggs with mayonnaise, mustard, and a splash of vinegar. Add the chopped celery, pickle relish, and adjust seasoning with salt and pepper. You can add more mustard or vinegar if you prefer extra tang. Spread the egg salad generously on slices of your bread. For a little extra texture, lightly toast the bread or serve it fresh for that soft, comforting bite. Optionally, garnish with fresh herbs for added color and flavor. The Egg Salad Delight is a comforting, creamy, tangy sandwich that transports you back to the 1970s lunch table. Its simplicity, combined with the familiar flavors, makes it a timeless classic that's ready for a comeback. 17. The Fried Green Tomato Sandwich. The fried green tomato sandwich is a delicious homage to Southern cooking, a 1970s favorite that combined crispy, tangy green tomatoes with fresh ingredients to create an unforgettable sandwich. Fried green tomatoes are a staple of Southern cuisine, and they became a must-try dish across the United States in the 1970s. This sandwich became an iconic way to enjoy the tanginess of green tomatoes, giving it the crispy crunch and texture of fried food, paired with a creamy, savory spread to balance out the sharpness. In the 1970s, diners and home cooks alike began to experiment more with Southern comfort foods, bringing them to new heights. The fried green tomato sandwich quickly became a popular choice for anyone looking to enjoy the flavors of the South in a portable, easy-to-eat form. It was perfect for lunch or a casual dinner, offering a delightful contrast between the crunchy, golden tomatoes and the creamy ingredients. To recreate this sandwich, you'll need green tomatoes, firm and unripe, because they hold up better when fried. For the breading, you'll need cornmeal, flour, and some seasonings like salt, pepper, and paprika to give the tomatoes a little extra flavor. For the sandwich itself, you'll need soft sandwich bread, such as white or sourdough, and a creamy spread like mayonnaise or a tangy remoulade sauce. For added freshness, add some leafy lettuce and sliced red onions to balance the rich, crispy tomatoes. Start by slicing your green tomatoes into thick, 1/2-inch slices. Set them aside and prepare your breading station. One shallow dish for flour, another for beaten eggs, and a third for cornmeal, salt, pepper, and paprika. Dip each tomato slice first into the flour, then the egg, and finally coat it in the cornmeal mixture. Heat a skillet over medium heat and add enough oil to cover the bottom. Fry the breaded tomato slices for about 2 to 3 minutes per side, or until golden brown and crispy. Once they're done, remove them from the skillet and let them drain on a paper towel. While the tomatoes are cooling slightly, toast your sandwich bread. Spread a generous amount of mayonnaise or remoulade sauce on one side of each slice of bread. Layer the fried green tomatoes on one slice, then add a handful of fresh lettuce and a few slices of red onion. Place the other slice of bread on top and gently press it down. Slice the sandwich in half and serve immediately. The combination of crispy, tangy tomatoes with the creamy spread and fresh veggies creates a flavor explosion that will take you straight to the heart of Southern comfort. The fried green tomato sandwich is a dish that takes simple ingredients and elevates them to something special. It's crunchy, creamy, and packed with bold flavors, making it a true classic that deserves a spot on today's menus. 18. The Bacon, Lettuce, and Tomato BLT Deluxe. The BLT Deluxe is the sandwich that reimagines the humble BLT into something a little more indulgent. The classic BLT, bacon, lettuce, and tomato, is beloved for its simplicity, but in the 1970s, it was all about taking that classic and giving it an extra twist. Enter the BLT Deluxe, which adds a few layers of luxury and flavor, turning a familiar favorite into a showstopper. In the 1970s, there was a surge in interest in taking traditional sandwiches and elevating them with richer ingredients or more sophisticated spreads. The BLT Deluxe was a perfect example of this trend, as it incorporated extras like creamy avocado, a touch of mayonnaise or aioli, and sometimes even a fried egg for an added layer of indulgence. It was a delicious take on the classic that's still just as appealing today. To make the BLT Deluxe, you'll need crispy bacon, fresh lettuce, and ripe tomatoes. The real star of the show is the addition of creamy avocado, which adds richness and depth. For the spread, you can use traditional mayonnaise, or if you're feeling adventurous, a tangy aioli for a bit of extra flavor. The bread is just as important. Choose a sturdy, toasted bread like sourdough, which can hold up to the hearty filling. Start by cooking your bacon until crispy. You can either fry it in a pan or bake it in the oven for a more even cook. Once it's crispy, set it aside to drain on a paper towel. Next, toast your bread slices lightly in a skillet or toaster. While the bread is toasting, slice your tomato and avocado. If you're using avocado, slice it thinly, as it will spread nicely across the sandwich and complement the crispy bacon perfectly. Once the bread is toasted, spread a generous amount of mayonnaise or aioli on one side of each slice. Layer the crispy bacon on one slice, followed by the fresh lettuce and tomato slices. Add the avocado slices and top with the second slice of bread. For an extra deluxe touch, you can even add a fried egg on top of the bacon, which brings a delightful richness to the sandwich. Slice the BLT Deluxe in half, and you've got yourself a sandwich that's a little more luxurious, but just as satisfying as the classic BLT. The crispy bacon, creamy avocado, juicy tomato, and tangy mayo all combine into one glorious bite. The BLT Deluxe is a perfect example of 1970s ingenuity at its best, taking a beloved classic and making it even more enjoyable. It's a timeless, indulgent sandwich that deserves to be enjoyed again and again. 19. The beef and cheddar melt. The beef and cheddar melt is a classic comfort sandwich that's all about the irresistible combination of tender, juicy beef and gooey, melted cheddar cheese. It's a 1970s favorite that took the humble roast beef sandwich and elevated it with the melty goodness of cheddar, creating a satisfying meal that was perfect for any time of day. Whether enjoyed as a quick lunch or a hearty dinner, the beef and cheddar melt offered the kind of warmth and comfort that makes a sandwich a true standout. This sandwich became popular in the 1970s as diners began experimenting with different types of cheeses and bread. While the classic roast beef sandwich was already a favorite, the addition of cheddar cheese and a good melting technique gave the sandwich a new level of decadence. To make this melt, you'll need thinly sliced roast beef, preferably from a freshly cooked roast, but deli roast beef works just as well. For the cheese, you'll need sharp cheddar cheese, grated or sliced. The bread should be a soft roll or thick slices of hearty sandwich bread that can hold up to the filling without falling apart. You'll also need some butter for grilling and a touch of Worcestershire sauce for extra flavor. Start by heating a skillet over medium heat. Butter one side of each slice of bread or sandwich roll. Place the buttered side down in the skillet and layer one slice of bread with a generous amount of thinly sliced roast beef. Top the beef with a good helping of grated cheddar cheese. Place the second slice of bread on top, buttered side up, and cook the sandwich for about 3 to 4 minutes per side, pressing down gently to help the cheese melt. Flip the sandwich carefully and cook the other side until the bread is golden brown and the cheese has melted into the beef. Once the sandwich is golden and crispy, remove it from the skillet and cut it in half. For an extra burst of flavor, you can drizzle a little Worcestershire sauce over the beef before serving. The beef and cheddar melt is the ultimate comfort food. Tender beef, rich cheddar cheese, and crispy bread, all combining to create a sandwich that's as satisfying as it is delicious. It's a timeless classic that's always a crowd pleaser and deserves to make a comeback in your kitchen. 20. The hot dog roll-up. The hot dog roll-up is a fun, nostalgic sandwich that took the classic hot dog and turned it into a playful, handheld meal. Born in the 1970s, this was a sandwich designed for simplicity and fun. Perfect for kids, but also just as enjoyable for adults looking for a quick and satisfying snack. This sandwich is essentially a hot dog wrapped up in bread, but with a few twists that make it stand out from a regular bun. In the 1970s, hot dogs were a staple at picnics and barbecues, but people started getting creative with the classic dish. The hot dog roll-up was an easy, on-the-go option that was perfect for busy families. This sandwich took everything people loved about hot dogs: savory sausage, tangy mustard, and a soft roll. and gave it a fun, bite-sized twist. For this sandwich, you'll need classic hot dogs, soft sandwich bread, preferably white or whole wheat, and your favorite condiments like mustard, ketchup, or relish. For an added touch, you can wrap the hot dogs in slices of cheese or add chopped onions for extra flavor. Start by boiling or grilling the hot dogs until they're heated through and lightly browned. While they're cooking, lay out your slices of bread and trim off the crusts. Optional, but it adds a more delicate touch. You can either use whole slices of bread or roll the bread flat with a rolling pin to make it more pliable. Once your bread is ready, place a hot dog in the center of each slice of bread. Add a small dollop of mustard, ketchup, or relish on top. You can also sprinkle a little shredded cheese if you like a cheesy twist. Carefully roll up each slice of bread around the hot dog, securing it by tucking in the ends or securing it with a toothpick. If you'd like a crispy texture, you can toast the roll-ups in a skillet with a little butter for 1 to 2 minutes, just until the bread is golden brown. The hot dog roll-up is the perfect bite-sized treat that's easy to make and just as easy to enjoy. Whether you're having a casual lunch or a nostalgic snack, this sandwich brings the fun back to your meal. 21. The Eggplant Parmesan Sub. The Eggplant Parmesan Sub is the 1970s sandwich that takes the classic Italian eggplant parmesan and turns it into a convenient, handheld delight. Eggplant parmesan, with its crispy, golden eggplant slices, rich marinara sauce, and melted mozzarella, has always been a comforting dish. But in the 1970s, this dish made a daring transition into sandwich form, giving diners a new way to enjoy this Italian classic. The Eggplant Parmesan Sub was part of the era's growing trend of making traditionally sit-down meals portable. While eggplant parmesan was usually served in a casserole dish, the sandwich version allowed for a quick, delicious bite without sacrificing the flavor. The hearty bread held the crispy eggplant, gooey cheese, and flavorful sauce, making it the ideal meal for lunch or dinner. To create this sandwich, you'll need firm eggplant, marinara sauce, fresh mozzarella cheese, and Parmesan cheese. The bread is important. Go for a soft sub roll that can hold all the layers without falling apart. To bread the eggplant, you'll need flour, eggs, and breadcrumbs. Fresh basil can be added for an aromatic touch. Start by slicing the eggplant into 1/2 inch thick rounds. Sprinkle the slices with salt and let them sit for about 30 minutes to draw out any bitterness. After the eggplant has released excess moisture, pat the slices dry with a paper towel. Set up a breading station. 1 shallow dish for flour, 1 for beaten eggs, and 1 for breadcrumbs. Dredge each eggplant slice in the flour, then dip it in the egg wash, and finally coat it in breadcrumbs. Heat a bit of oil in a skillet over medium heat, and fry the eggplant slices for 2 to 3 minutes per side until golden and crispy. Set the fried eggplant on a paper towel to drain any excess oil. While the eggplant cools, toast the sub rolls lightly in the oven. Once the bread is ready, spread a little marinara sauce on the bottom of the roll, then layer in the crispy eggplant slices. Top with a generous amount of fresh mozzarella and a sprinkle of Parmesan cheese. Spoon some more marinara sauce over the top and place the sandwich under the broiler for 1 to 2 minutes, just until the cheese melts and becomes bubbly. For a final touch, add a few fresh basil leaves before serving. Slice the eggplant Parmesan sub in half and serve with a side of extra marinara sauce for dipping. The eggplant Parmesan sub is a perfect example of how 1970s food trends took traditional dishes and made them more accessible. The crunchy eggplant, rich sauce, and melty cheese create a flavor-packed sandwich that brings the heart of Italian comfort food right into your hands. 22. The Ranch Chicken Wrap. In the 1970s, wraps were a novel idea, and the ranch chicken wrap is a perfect example of how this new sandwich format was used to reinvent classic flavors. Chicken was already a popular protein in sandwiches, but when paired with tangy ranch dressing, it became a new level of delicious. The ranch chicken wrap combined the comfort of crispy, juicy chicken with the cool, creamy flavor of ranch dressing, all wrapped up in a soft tortilla. The 1970s were all about convenience and bold flavors, and the ranch chicken wrap fit the bill perfectly. It took traditional chicken sandwiches and added a fresh twist by using wraps instead of bread. This sandwich not only reflected the era's trend toward fast and portable meals, but it also capitalized on the growing popularity of ranch dressing, which was quickly becoming a staple condiment for everything from salads to snacks. For the ranch chicken wrap, you'll need boneless, skinless chicken breasts, ranch dressing, either store-bought or homemade, lettuce, and sliced tomatoes. You'll also need flour tortillas to wrap everything up and a bit of cheddar or mozzarella cheese for extra richness. You can optionally add avocado slices or crispy bacon for added flavor and texture. Start by cooking your chicken breasts. You can grill or pan sear them, Just make sure to season them with salt, pepper, and a bit of garlic powder for extra flavor. Cook the chicken until it's golden and cooked through, about 6-7 minutes per side depending on thickness. Once the chicken is cooked, set it aside to rest for a few minutes before slicing it into thin strips. While the chicken rests, prepare your tortilla wraps. Lay each tortilla flat on a clean surface and spread a spoonful of ranch dressing in the center of the tortilla, leaving space around the edges. Place a few slices of cooked chicken on top of the ranch dressing, followed by a handful of fresh lettuce and a few slices of tomato. Add cheese and any extra toppings like avocado or bacon if desired. Once all the ingredients are in place, fold in the sides of the tortilla and roll it up tightly, ensuring all the fillings stay inside. Cut the wrap in half on the diagonal for easy eating and serve with a side of chips or a light salad. The ranch chicken wrap is a fresh, satisfying option that combines creamy ranch dressing, juicy chicken, and crisp vegetables, all in one easy-to-eat package. It's a timeless dish that feels light yet indulgent and perfectly captures the flavor trends of the 1970s. 23. The cheesy baked potato sandwich. The cheesy baked potato sandwich is one of those unexpected yet brilliant creations that combines the comforting flavors of a baked potato with the convenience of a sandwich. In the 1970s, baked potatoes were a popular side dish, often served with a dollop of sour cream and a sprinkle of cheese. But in this inventive take, the hearty, creamy elements of a baked potato are transformed into a warm, filling sandwich that was both satisfying and comforting. This sandwich was a reflection of the era's culinary love for combining familiar ingredients in new ways. The cheesy baked potato sandwich took the rich flavors of a loaded baked potato and put them between two slices of soft bread, giving you all the indulgent flavors of a baked potato in a more portable, sandwich-friendly format. It was the perfect combination of creamy, cheesy, and savory in one bite. To make the cheesy baked potato sandwich, you'll need baked potatoes, about 1 medium potato per sandwich, butter, sour cream, shredded cheddar cheese, green onions, and a pinch of salt and pepper. For the bread, you can use soft sandwich rolls or thick slices of bread, something that will hold the hearty filling without falling apart. If you like, you can also add crispy bacon bits for extra flavor. Start by baking your potatoes. Wash them thoroughly and pierce each one a few times with a fork. Bake them at 400 to 200 degrees for about 45 to 60 minutes or until they're tender when pierced with a fork. Once the potatoes are baked and cool enough to handle, slice them open and scoop out the flesh into a bowl. Add butter, sour cream, shredded cheddar cheese, green onions, salt, and pepper to the potato and mash everything together until smooth and creamy. If you like, you can stir in a handful of crispy bacon bits for extra flavor. Toast your bread or rolls lightly in the oven until they're golden brown. Once toasted, spread a generous amount of the mashed potato mixture onto one slice of bread. Place another slice on top to form the sandwich. If you want to take it up a notch, you can melt some extra cheese over the top in the oven for a cheesy, gooey finish. Serve your cheesy baked potato sandwich immediately, either as a standalone meal or with a side of crispy chips. The creamy, cheesy filling and the warm, toasted bread combine to create a comforting, satisfying sandwich that's sure to become a favorite. The cheesy baked potato sandwich brings together two comforting classics in one: potatoes and sandwiches, and it's as decadent and satisfying as it sounds. 24. The chicken cordon bleu sandwich. The chicken cordon bleu sandwich is a more refined take on the classic chicken cordon bleu, an elegant dish that combines tender chicken, melty Swiss cheese, and savory ham. In the 1970s, chicken cordon bleu was a popular entree in upscale restaurants and home kitchens alike. But why settle for a plate when you could take all that flavor and tuck it neatly between two slices of bread? This sandwich made the complex dish accessible in a more portable form, perfect for an indulgent lunch or dinner. By transforming the classic chicken entree into a sandwich, you get the best of both worlds: a crispy golden coating on the outside and a gooey, cheesy center that's pure comfort. The chicken cordon bleu sandwich was a delicious and elegant way to enjoy a hearty meal on the go. For the chicken cordon bleu sandwich, you'll need boneless, skinless chicken breasts, ham, preferably deli style, Swiss cheese, and breadcrumbs. You'll also need eggs and flour for breading the chicken, along with butter for frying. For the bread, a soft sandwich roll or toasted brioche works perfectly. You'll also want some mustard or mayonnaise for a tangy kick. Start by flattening the chicken breasts to an even thickness using a meat mallet or rolling pin. Place a slice of ham and a slice of Swiss cheese on top of each chicken breast, then roll them up tightly, securing them with toothpicks. Coat each chicken roll in flour, dip it in beaten eggs, and then dredge it in breadcrumbs. In a skillet, heat butter over medium heat. Fry the chicken rolls for about 4 to 5 minutes per side, or until the breadcrumbs are golden brown and the chicken is cooked through. Remove the toothpicks from the chicken and slice it into pieces. Toast your sandwich rolls lightly in the oven or skillet. Spread a bit of mustard or mayonnaise on the inside of each roll, then place a few slices of the fried chicken cordon bleu inside. For an extra touch, you can drizzle a little more mustard or add fresh greens like arugula. Serve the chicken cordon bleu sandwich with a side of crispy fries or a light salad. The golden, crispy chicken, paired with the salty ham and melted cheese, creates a truly indulgent sandwich that's both refined and comforting. The chicken cordon bleu sandwich is a perfect way to enjoy the elegance of chicken cordon bleu in a more accessible, sandwich-friendly form, making it a memorable meal for any occasion. 25. The shrimp po' boy. The shrimp po' boy is a southern classic that hails from the streets of New Orleans, and it's the sandwich that brings all the bold flavors of the bayou to your plate. In the 1970s, the po' boy became even more popular as the South's culinary influence spread across the nation. The shrimp po' boy features crispy fried shrimp, tangy pickles, lettuce, and a zesty remoulade sauce, all piled high on a soft, crusty French roll. This sandwich is a deliciously messy, indulgent treat that's perfect for anyone who loves a little heat and a lot of flavor. The 1970s saw a rise in the popularity of Southern food, and the shrimp po' boy was one of the sandwiches that helped define the era's food culture. The crunch of the shrimp, the heat from the spicy sauce, and the freshness of the lettuce and pickles made this sandwich a true standout. For the shrimp po' boy, you'll need shrimp, peeled and deveined, seasoned flour for breading, and cornmeal. You'll also need lettuce, pickles, and a French baguette-style roll. The remoulade sauce is what really makes this sandwich shine, and it's made from mayonnaise, mustard, horseradish, garlic, lemon juice, and a pinch of cayenne pepper. Start by preparing the shrimp. Dredge the shrimp in a mixture of seasoned flour and cornmeal, making sure they're well coated. Heat oil in a deep skillet or fryer to about 350 degrees, 175 degrees C, and fry the shrimp for 2 to 3 minutes or until golden brown and crispy. Remove the shrimp from the oil and let them drain on paper towels. While the shrimp cools, prepare the remoulade sauce by mixing mayonnaise, mustard, horseradish, minced garlic, lemon juice, and cayenne pepper in a bowl. Taste and adjust the seasoning to your liking. Slice your French roll and spread a generous amount of remoulade sauce on both sides. Layer a few pieces of crispy shrimp onto the bottom half of the roll, then top with lettuce, pickles, and more sauce. Serve the shrimp po' boy immediately with a side of fries or coleslaw. The combination of crispy shrimp, creamy sauce, and crunchy vegetables wrapped in a soft, crusty roll makes the shrimp po' boy a mouth-watering sandwich that's as satisfying as it is flavorful. The shrimp po' boy is a 1970s classic that perfectly captures the bold, delicious flavors of New Orleans. If you've never tried one, this sandwich is a must-make. And there you have it, 25 forgotten sandwiches from the 1970s that, while they may have faded into the background of culinary history, are undoubtedly deserving of a second chance. These sandwiches aren't just recipes. They're a snapshot of an era when creativity in the kitchen ran wild and bold flavors were embraced with a carefree spirit. From the indulgent chicken cordon bleu sandwich to the Southern-inspired shrimp po' boy, each one tells a story of resourcefulness, innovation, and a love for making every meal something special. The 1970s were a time of change and experimentation, not just in fashion and music, but also in food. It was an era that celebrated the playful side of cooking, where anything could become a sandwich. Who would have thought to put pineapple on a ham sandwich, or turn a classic lobster roll into a portable delight? But that's exactly what people did, and it gave us some of the most delicious, quirky creations we now remember fondly. As we look back at these sandwiches, we can't help but smile at the creativity that went into them. The pizza sub, with its blend of pizza toppings nestled in a soft sub roll, or the fried green tomato sandwich, bringing the South's iconic fried green tomatoes to the sandwich scene. Each dish showcases the joy of eating and the excitement of trying something new. And let's not forget the tuna melt supreme. It was, and still is, a great way to elevate an everyday favorite into something a little extra special. Sure, we've moved on to new food trends and fast casual dining has become a dominant force, but there's something incredibly charming about these retro sandwiches. It's a reminder of a time when meals were about more than convenience. They were about taking a moment to enjoy something comforting and delicious. There's no reason why we can't rediscover these flavors and bring them back to life in our kitchens today. Who says a clamshell sandwich can't be just as delightful now as it was back then? So whether you're looking to try something new or simply reconnect with the past, these These forgotten sandwiches are waiting for you. The beauty of these dishes is that they are as versatile and adaptable as ever. Feel free to tweak the ingredients, experiment with the fillings, or even add your own personal touch. After all, the spirit of the 1970s was all about embracing creativity and having fun in the kitchen. Next time you're craving something different, why not dust off these nostalgic favorites and make a meal out of history? These sandwiches aren't just about the flavors of the past. They're a tasty reminder that food, much like memories, is best enjoyed when shared and celebrated. So go ahead, take a bite of history, and make these 1970s sandwiches your own. The past is delicious, and it's waiting for you to take another bite.